My name is Pauline Krupa, and I'm a parishioner at St. Peter's Church, lifelong. And this week's Gospel tells the story of John the Baptist, who is actually in prison, and he's hearing stories about this man who's going around performing miracles. And so he sends out his disciples to find out if the man he's hearing stories about is in fact the chosen divine Messiah that he was convinced that Jesus was, but now he's hearing different kinds of stories and he's a little bit confused. So he sends his disciples out to seek out Jesus and to find him and to ask him the question if he really is the Messiah. His disciples do go out and they do find Jesus and they ask him if he is in fact the chosen one. And Jesus said, "You go back and tell John that the blind are seeing, the lame are walking, the sick are being healed, and that in fact he was the chosen one." So when I first read this, I kind of thought about it like, I mentioned to somebody, it's like a soap opera. Like you have this guy saying, well, I don't really know if he's the real right guy, and then you got the guy saying, well, you go back and tell him I am the right guy. And for me, it was quite an intriguing, delightful story for me. In my work as with RCIA, I have come to know through Monsignor Stilla that whenever we read a gospel story, we have to consider the author of the story. And Matthew wrote his gospels for the Jewish people. And in this story, I think Matthew is trying to get us to understand, because all of the doubts that John has, I think, are the ones that the Jewish people had as well. So it was his way of pushing it home that Jesus was in fact the Messiah. And for me, personally, when I think about this, it just further proves that Jesus was in fact the Messiah, that he was who we read about in all of the Gospels. He was the person who was performing all of the miracles that we read about as we progress. And as we're approaching Christmas, I guess it's we talk about the coming of Jesus in these 4 weeks of Advent, and I think that this story just drives home that in fact the Messiah has come, and that we are reliving that coming of Jesus through the Gospel of Matthew.